While most people are trying to build a complicated business, I found 7 passive businesses you can literally buy today. I'm talking about real businesses, and most people have never even heard of them. Now, making money is never easy or guaranteed, but these are actually existing businesses that you buy, not some get-rich-quick scheme. They are boring, and you don't need a large investment to get started. Some of these are kind of like Bitcoin was in 2016. Everyone was thinking, imagine if I just started back then. And funny enough, the first passive business you can buy is a Bitcoin ATM. Now, I've started seeing a lot of these pop up in my city, and that's not random. It means that somebody is making money from these Bitcoin machines. Now, Lucas, what the heck is a Bitcoin ATM? Well, it's an ATM where you can buy or sell Bitcoin. Shocking, right? Basically, you can turn real cash into Bitcoin and vice versa. And the owner of the machine is a very happy man or woman taking a cut from every transaction. In other words, the machine basically simply stands there, and every time somebody uses it, they make a cut. They make some money. And the cool thing is there are actually over 30,000 Bitcoin ATMs across the US already, and we're still pretty early. And what I found really interesting is that over half of these ATMs are actually owned by individuals and regular people and small owners, not just like the big corporations or banks. So you can either place your ATM in the street, or better in a business or in some public area. And there are even people renting out spaces, so you can just basically come and place your machine there and pay a little bit each month. How do you afford to buy a Bitcoin ATM in the first place? Because that's a really good question. Well, they're not as expensive as you might think, but still it takes some investment, I get it. So step 1 is to have rich parents. Thank me for the great advice on this channel. But, well, for most of us, that's not really an option. So here's what we can do. You can get together with a group of friends or family members to each invest a little bit into the machine. You can also try saving up money yourself. And yeah, it's gonna take some time, but it will be worth it. Or you can get a loan. Now, be careful here. You don't want to take a loan and that's going to ruin your future, but you're not spending it on Gucci bags either. It's actually supposed to be an investment and buying a business. The downsides are that a bad location can completely kill this business, like completely eliminate it. Because if nobody sees the machine, nobody's going to be using it and nobody's making any money. And it also takes quite a bit of hard work to start, and then it almost runs itself. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. The next business is one that you can buy and essentially maintain remotely, requiring minimal effort once it's set up, and that is a billboard business. Now, billboards are extremely stable. They literally just sit there and people make money from it, from promoting stuff on their billboard. They can either be just a giant big screen or a digital screen. The digital screen is kind of like a giant TV and obviously much more expensive to buy and start. But once you have it, you can also make a little bit more money and you can update the billboard from a computer anywhere. And that's very comfortable rather than putting these huge billboards on the billboard. All right, let's talk about the pros and cons. I'm gonna be brutally honest here. It takes work to set up. It is not easy, let's be real. And it can be pretty cheap or very, very expensive depending on the type of billboard and the location. And it can also be a challenge to obtain certain permits. At the same time though, it's evergreen and it's super, super stable. It literally just stands there. Now, if you wanna do something small and you wanna spend no money, you can put a wrap on your car. It's kind of like a billboard, but you drive around with it, and companies literally pay to put ads on your car, nothing else. Is it gonna be a bit annoying? Yes, but according to one of the top websites for this could add a small stream of extra income depending on the car type, the location, your driving habits, and other factors, so it's hard to say how much. They also have an app that you can download and get started with, and it pays drivers every single month. Now, this video is not sponsored, by the way. I just thought it was a cool extra thing to do if you don't want to buy like a whole billboard and start that way. I'll give these like a 7.5 out of 10. So next up is gonna be a boat business. And there are all these websites where people rent out all types of boats, like small boats, jet skis, yachts, big yachts, everything, just depending on the budget basically. This business is largely passive, like you literally just buy a boat, you hand over the keys, and it floats around for you, earning the owner a profit. Now, obviously I get it, that's oversimplified, there are lots of moving pieces to it, but it can almost be passive because you can actually rent it out through an agency, meaning that you don't do any of the work or any of the rentals, you just own the asset, the boat, and collect the profits. But let's be brutally honest again, I like this business and it's one that you can buy, but it also comes with a lot of risk. First, you need an investment to buy some sort of boat. but it also needs to be in the right location where somebody actually pays for it. And it's also very seasonal, meaning that if people are out in summer and there's a lot of tourism, great. Other times, maybe not so great. And if you're doing it alone, it requires a lot of maintenance, and you definitely need a good insurance in case something goes wrong, like if it literally sinks. 7 out of 10. Now the next passive business is a machine, and it's relatively easy to set up. It takes some work up front, but then it just stands there like a machine. And that is a coffee business or coffee vending machine business. These are actually everywhere, in buildings, in metros, in stores, at bus stops, in shops, whatever, because people drink a lot of coffee. And when they're on the go, they see a machine, they buy a quick cup, pay a little bit, and get on with their day. Now these cups of coffee are super cheap to produce, and the owner can even charge a few dollars each with basically no cost. So let's do some quick math here, okay? Let's say that a coffee machine sells 20 cups per day. That's gonna be about 600 cups of coffee per month. Pretty good. But now let's say that the owner has 10 coffee machines in different locations. Suddenly, it's supposed to be a real business. Now, obviously, these are examples and it varies for every market in each location, but the great thing is the simplicity. A lot of vending machines and these annoying things require you to bring a ton of different products from suppliers and different snacks and all that stuff. Coffee machines typically require only water, coffee, milk, and a few other ingredients. And that's it. So it's way easier to maintain. 8 out of 10. All right, so next up, I gotta admit something. I've been getting these back pains from sitting too much and probably slouching over looking like this. And I'm not alone, because according to the National Institute of Health, about 80% of people will experience back pain at some point in their lives. Horrible numbers, and it's a real problem. Now, massage isn't gonna fix everything, but it can definitely help. And it can also be a relaxing, nice experience, even if you're doing fine. And that's why massage chairs are so popular. And every massage chair that you see at the mall or in a business is making somebody money. And that somebody could be you. Why not? If you buy the share, of course. Now, this one is going to cost a little bit more. It's going to cost you about 5 to 15 grand to get started, so it's not really for beginners. But I actually even found a professional looking massage chair for much less. I say professional looking because I'm definitely not an expert on this. Good idea for a second channel though, about massage. Now you might be thinking, that sounds like complete BS. You can't make anything from a massage chair. But no, some people are actually running massage businesses and the market is growing at a rate of 8%, which is very fast. I don't know the reason, but I imagine as societies get older and we end up sitting more and more and moving less on our computers, massage becomes a popular option as kind of a solution. It's not gonna make much money unless you have a lot of them, but you don't even need to refill a vending machine or something. It literally just sits there because it's a chair. 8 out of 10. Now next up is gonna be a super boring one. It's really boring, so boring, and it's a laundromat business. Washing machines, dryers, yeah, not my thing, I'll be honest, but it's pretty much a business that runs itself. Because all you need are some machines, and people put clothes in them, and then they put coins in them, and then they get everything washed, dried and clean, and everybody's happy. Okay, obviously it is not that easy, but once you find a good location, you have it all set up and you do the upfront work, it pretty much runs itself. Now this definitely works best in cities, especially in neighborhoods where people live in apartments that lack these amenities. It's obviously not gonna work in a place with like huge villas very far apart that all have washing machines, because nobody's gonna buy that. But the success rate is incredibly high at about 95% for laundromat businesses. And now, I'm just speculating here, but I think I know why. People start restaurants because they think it's fun, they have a passion for it. But nobody starts a laundromat business because it's fun. And then they start one if there is enough demand. You don't do this for fun. 8 out of 10. All right, next up is gonna be a property business. And you're thinking, okay, I need millions and I need to be some giant investor. That's kinda true. However, property is also one of the most common ways that regular people become wealthy. Most people aren't buying stocks. They're either buying a home or trying to buy a home. And they then pray to God that the prices go up. Of course, sometimes it goes down too, and it's not guaranteed. But the people who really make money from property, they do this. They buy a house, an apartment, whatever. They start renting it out, which pays for all of their expenses. And nowadays, there are actually companies that do everything for you, kind of like the yacht business, where they rent it out, they find tenants, deal with all the hassle, the cleaning, everything. They obviously charge a fee for it, but it saves you a tremendous amount of time. Now you can choose whether you want to do rentals short-term like Airbnb, which have been getting into some controversy recently, which also tends to pay more money though, but can come with some problems too. If you want something more stable, you can rent it out long term, obviously for a lower price to one person or like a family. Then they buy more and more properties like that, and their collection just keeps increasing. Now, we can discuss ethics about this, buying up all the homes on the market. There are obviously some problems with the housing market in the US and in most countries already, but now I have 6 online businesses with extremely low failure rates and low startup cost. Check it out right here, and goodbye.